So it's been 4 years since the PS5 has launched, and if I'm being honest, with this generation in particular, it feels like it hasn't really even started yet. Now, I know that's very unfair. You could go ahead and start drafting the comments now. I know that's an unfair statement. However, I look at their games and it kind of just feels like PlayStation is going in circles. I feel like they're trying to capitalize on what made the PS4 really, really hot and really, really special, like The Last of Us, like God of War and Spider-Man and Horizon. I feel like we're just kind of, this generation is mirroring that tail end of last gen, and there's not a lot to be really excited for. Where are the new games? And no, I'm not talking about Ghost of Yotei and Spider-Man 3 and another God of War game and another Horizon game. I'm talking about a new video game, a new IP. Like I said, they're mirroring the success of the PS4 in ways, but I don't think they're mirroring its finer attributes, which is all of those games were new on the PS4, and now they're not new. Now they kind of feel like I'm playing the same game that just looks slightly better. And I can't say it's because of a lack of trying. Like, I look at a game like Concord, and it had all the right ingredients, right? Brand new studio, brand new IP. This is a big deal. We're going to be in a TV show on Netflix soon. We're going to make movies and toys and get ready for season 12. It's happening. We're going to just keep this thing going. And it kind of crashed and exploded on the spot. And that's a huge problem. I think resources going in an incorrect direction for PlayStation right now has been a very tiring issue. And again, this is not just PlayStation. This is kind of just this whole generation right now. I can't put all the blame on PlayStation, but they're trying to launch this live service initiative. We saw Helldivers 2 pop off. They want to emulate that success with multiple titles. They want multiple live service games. They have multiple live service games coming out next year. Marathon and Fair games. I think we'd be lucky if both of those come out next year, but one of them is definitely coming out next year, probably Marathon. And it's hard for me to get behind that. For starters, I don't particularly love multiplayer games. I'm not like huge in that, so I won't judge it on that merit. Like, that feels unfair. I just think that lack of diversity in the market is a huge problem. And I think specifically with PlayStation, it's a huge problem. It's either super big budget, AAA, 500 plus mil, tentpole game, or a really shitty half-baked multiplayer game. It kind of feels like that we're stuck in that cycle. But then comes Astrobot and kind of breathes new life into the PS5, in my opinion. Now, you can say what you will about Astrobot. I think it's one of the finest games PlayStation has ever made. I think it's probably the best game this year, in a year where there's Rebirth and Fantasio and so many other great games. It's truly magnificent. It truly stands among the rest. But what's after that? We're gonna get an Astrobot 2, I'm assuming, but like, I don't know. Like, I feel like Astrobot as a brand and as a game is this huge celebration of PlayStation, and I don't feel that anywhere else but in that game. We're celebrating the anniversary of this console, and I feel like Astrobot did a really good job at that, but I don't feel like PlayStation as a brand and as a company has done that really at all. Yeah, we have our special edition controller and console, and that's all fine and dandy. That's a good way to make a buck, don't get me wrong. I just wish that there were some new games to go along with it. We have a PlayStation 5 Pro that is, it costs as much as a down payment on a car at this point, and there's just kind of nothing to really show for it. Yeah, I can make Rebirth look not blurry. That's fantastic. 2 thumbs up there. But where's the big fucking game? Where's the big, holy shit, look at this on PS5 Pro, it's amazing. Like, where is that? I thought for sure, we've heard rumors about a PS5 Pro for damn near a year now, and I thought for sure that before the launch of this new mid-gen console, we would get an announcement of like Naughty Dog's next game. And that didn't happen, obviously. It seems like they're really just focused on these tentpole franchises that they have, because those tentpole franchises are proven. And not only are they proven, they're also all getting TV shows and movies. And I don't know, that kind of mentality going forward is a little dangerous. I think putting all of your eggs in the basket of any franchise, of any brand, of any IP is dangerous. Very, very dangerous. Now, I know I sound over dramatic here, but I truly mean it. Like, I look how they're pushing Horizon so hard right now, because there's a Horizon show in development right now. I think it's coming next year. I'm not really sure. That's happening, and I feel like the popularity for Horizon is starting to wane. I think the audience is starting to not really respond to it. We've just seen so much of it as of late that it's starting to be like, what's the new one? What am I even playing? There's a VR game now too. There's a remaster of a remaster. Like, what's happening with Horizon is too much of the same thing. And I feel like we're going to get a show that's going to very much emulate what the game's success has been. And I don't think that that's a good idea. I really don't. I think that cultivating new IP and cultivating new franchises and new studios is the most important step for any publisher at this point. And you can see it within other studios and publishers as well. They're really trying to cast a net out and see all of the different IPs that they have and how to properly utilize them, how to properly push them. Where can this game succeed? Where can this game succeed? This show could work, and then we have a new franchise on our hands. Like, there's been a lot of that. There's been a lot of, like, Sega's making big moves there. Square Enix is really reeling it back in on a lot of their franchises. You can see a lot of restructuring happening within the entire industry right now. And even Sony, especially Sony. I feel like we've heard talks about, cutting back and things like that for a while now. And I hope that shows. It's going to take a couple of years for it to show. It's going to take a while before we see the fruits of their labor. But I do think that PlayStation can potentially turn it around. I've mentioned in a previous video that right now we're at that midpoint of this gen where it's time to make that call on whether or not this is a successful generation for PlayStation. Now, financially, sure, it's been successful. It hasn't reached the highs that PlayStation has reached in the past, but it's making money. But when we look back on this generation, are we going to look back on it in fondness or, oh man, yeah, remember the dark days of PlayStation? Like, I don't want to have that conversation. I don't want to have that talk 4 or 5 years from now. I want PlayStation to start putting out excellent games. And look, it is going to happen, right? We're at this point now where, like, Naughty Dog's next game is going to happen. That's a real thing. And Asobi is this magnificent studio filled with so much talent. I can't wait to see what they work on next. Hopefully it's a new game, or even an Astro Bot 2 would work, but I want something new from Asobi as well. There's a lot of studios working on stuff. It seems like some of them are just locked on, like Guerrilla is just going to be locked on Horizon forever now, I guess. It seems like Santa Monica's been just kind of stuck with God of War, and that worries me. I hope that they give those studios the freedom and time to make something different, make something that's not mandated by, corporate overlords. I do hope that new games are in the future of PlayStation. I think that's one of the big ways that PlayStation can succeed. I realize I might also sound a little redundant here, because another way PlayStation can truly succeed in my book is to actually bring back some of their older IP. Again, like Astro Bot proved, there's still love for those franchises. There's still people that care about those characters. Make a Jack and Dexter game and just start doing crazy stuff like that. I don't know. I think that it needs a careful approach, but I do think that there's room for those franchises to continue. Especially Ape Escape, man. I cannot stress enough how much, like, Ape Escape is that franchise to me. That is the one you make TV shows off of and movies, and there's a spin-off anime and multiple games. There's a party game. To me, Ape Escape is that. It was that for PlayStation for a while. I think that there's ways to to spin that around and turn that into a new franchise. Like, PlayStation has been sitting on so much fucking IP, man. They've been sitting on so many games that I do think can succeed today. So not only new games from PlayStation, but also I want some of the old ones as well. I want them to experiment with those older IPs. I want them to bring them back in a new and refreshing way. Way easier said than done, I know, but I do think, like, if we want to be on the path to success, I do think bringing those old franchises back gives you a ton of goodwill from consumers, gets hype back in the brand of PlayStation itself and its original characters. I don't know, PlayStation is in this spot right now where a lot could happen. A lot could happen. Again, a lot of studios hard at work, a lot of multiplayer games coming. There's been successes here and there. We're just going to have to wait and see on how the back half of the PS5 generation unfolds. I'm a little nervous and a little scared, but I'm excited at the same time. Comment down below, give me your thoughts on this generation of PlayStation so far. How do you feel about this thing? Are you in the same vein as me? Like, yeah, there's good games, there's some stuff to play, but I don't know, I'm just kind of like left wanting more. I'm left wanting something a little bit different. Comment below, give me your thoughts. Maybe I'm being wrong here. I'm not really sure. This has just been kind of my thoughts throughout this whole year and kind of throughout this whole generation, to be honest. I've been like waiting for the game. And I don't think, you know, Naughty Dog putting out their next game is going to change that. I don't think that, like, oh, finally, this is what we've been waiting for. Like, I do think it's an initiative problem. I think it has to do with the whole brand, the whole tone, everything. It's more than just the next big PlayStation game, you know. But again, comment down below. Give me your thoughts on the PS5 so far. If you like this video, hit that like button. It'll put a smile on my face. And also, check out the links down below. I'm streaming on Twitch quite regularly, and I'm at a bunch of other places too. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, party on.